All right, Laura, this is actually a favorite topic of mine. Influencers sometimes come in a second, sometimes come in a lifetime. Um, One of my favorite movies ever was Mr. Holland's Opus, that didn't realize how many people he influenced and impacted. I admit publicly, I cry every time I've seen the movie, and it's like multiple times. Um, my grandfather was an initial influencer for me. For example, him, my grandmother, my mom, my aunt came from Kiev and came to Canada from there a long time ago. And he used to take me for walks in the park in Montreal when I was five or so. And one day I asked him, because he talked to everybody, which obviously I think I got that DNA from. And he one day I asked him, I said, Zeta, how do you know all these people? And he looked at me and he pointed to somebody, said, see that guy over there? And I can see it right now when he did it. One day I smiled at him and he looked up at me and then he smiled. And then he came over and then we started talking and became friends. And then someone else came over, saw us smiling and laughing. And I remember my 5-year-old brain saying, well, life's going to be easy. I just have to smile at people. I remember that like almost literally. And then you start getting older and you start complicating things. And then you get older a little more and wiser, and you say it could just be a smile that can make the difference physiologically, mentally, the whole bit. We all get lots of different influences in our lives. Can you share two or three people that have been influential in your life?
Yeah, well, for sure, the first one would be my mother with the green velvet chair, and she was very creative. But I want to say my mom was tough. She wasn't the kind that would, give me a hug and kiss and tell me how much she loved me. She was tough. She'd go out, go and figure it out yourself. And that's kind of what made me tough because I didn't have anything to fall back on. I had to really figure this out for myself because no one was going to help me. She might give me a few tips, but she wasn't going to do it for me. And it was like, you need to just carry on and figure it out. So I learned from her to be tough. And even though I'm shy and quiet, I have a tough resolve, which I'm actually very proud of because that's kind of got me where I am today.
Yeah.
Um, Secondly, I would say my old boss from the Calgary Herald, who was one of the founders of Tiger Media. He was a very influential man in my life because like I say, he was the one that said anybody can learn software, but it's having the right attitude to move ahead with that software that makes the difference. So I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot about the digital world from him. So that was very influential in my career and where I went.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have to say my husband. He
That's
through all the ups and downs.
good strategic call there.
No, it's very honest because I
Sure.
thought I have to end with him because he's always believed in me, and to have someone believe in you through the thick and thin and the ups and downs and always say you're doing great, you're going to come out on top, you're going to nail it. Boy, that means a lot, right? So to have someone in your court who's always rooting for you means a lot to me. So I think in my first edition of my book, I put him in the dedication. Of course, it was to my children and my parents, but my husband, who never read a book in his life, but always believed in me. So he's not a reader, but you know what? He knew that this book was going to be important for me. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, you should, and good for him. I don't know who had the saying, but I use it all the time. It only takes one person to believe in you, um, and it really does. You remember teachers would some teachers would always say, "You're the best class I've ever had," and we would tell ourselves, "Yeah, she tells that to everybody," and yet we still take it as
Yes,
real, even though we're saying she might tell it to everybody. We take it for real. And how many executives, especially men, tell me when we're in certain conversations, tell me, when I was 11, the coach put me out on the ice or the field in a really critical moment, and I never forgot that. And they don't even tell me if they scored or anything. They mostly remember the coach did that. And some of them, some of them tell me openly, that is the main foundation of my confidence that that happened back then. It's almost like positive trauma that stays with you versus trauma in general.
absolutely. I talked to someone who was, he talked about the most influential person on him was his basketball coach. He goes, I was always short. I was never going to grow any taller. But he goes, I joined the team and I just got so much inspiration. He goes, at the end of his university, he goes, I was the team captain. He's going, I was the shortest guy on the team, and I was also the team captain, and I took him into championship. So it kind of sends a shiver down your spine, right? Like there's people out there that can make you believe.
Well, and that's why we should always remember that we're influencing people ourselves all the time. And it's our choice to be positive or negative and giving some thought to, you may never know what happened, like a lot of teachers don't, but why not be positive with the person, and they could end up influencing this person, and this person, and then that person does like, man, who knows what, right? It's not rocket
Totally.
science.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that.
Well, thanks for sharing that. And way to go, husband.